Hello and welcome back to the trash, and today we'll be doing what I did with Season 2 of Tough as Nails back when that premiered, but this time for Season 3 we're going to be ranking these new cast members based on how likely they are to win the whole thing. And I gotta tell you, this was tough. This was way, way harder than Season 2 was. There were people who were towards the top of my list originally that sank down to almost the bottom, and then they moved up a little bit. But I think I've got a ranking here that I can be somewhat happy with going into the season. And I think the people I have at the top, I expect to do really well, and the people I have at the bottom, I expect them to not do as well. So without any further ado, let's get into my bottom pick. The least likely person I think to win this whole thing is KALIMBA Edwards. Now, KALIMBA's leaning heavily into the whole firefighter thing. From what I gather, that's really the only thing she's leaning hard into. And if you know me, you know I'm all about the adaptability when it comes to Tough as Nails. And I'm thinking that KALIMBA's not going to be as adaptable as someone else of other people that are higher on this list. So I feel like if she goes into overtime, then there could be a lot less of a chance of her winning overtime than someone else or whoever her opponent is. So now, in at number 11, we have someone who isn't this surprising that they're this low on the list, but I was really hoping that they wouldn't be this low on the list, and that's KELSY Reynolds. Now, from KELSY, I'm getting sort of a vibe that kind of goes back to Tara Davis from Season 1. It goes for Season 2, I guess you could compare her to maybe Selly Garcia. Someone that has this whole story arc about them being underestimated, and then, like, a few episodes in, their story arc kind of falls down and they get eliminated. I'm thinking, like, I'm hoping that's not what's happening with KELSY, but it's looking like that may be the case. So with that in mind, I had to put her down here at number 11. I'm just thinking she's going to be I wouldn't say she's too early of a boot, but I don't see her making it much farther than, like, final 8, maybe. Alright, now for number 10, we had someone who was really high on my list. This guy was, like, number 5, and I dropped him down to number 10, and that is QUINCY Walker. Now, when I look at QUINCY here, I automatically think Swifty. I think Lee, especially reading his bio, reminded me a lot of Swifty and Lee. But I just think that he'll be more of a Lee than he'll be a Swifty. Because with Swifty, you had a lot of that sort of more calm type personality that, more calm type personality that was more, I hate to say it, adaptable again, but adaptable. But with QUINCY here, you got more of an outgoing sort of Lee vibe than Swifty. If you want to compare him to Freight Train even, there's a little bit of that in there that I could see. Yeah, QUINCY, not someone overly high on my list, but he used to be, but I kind of dropped him down because he just doesn't seem like he'd have the right type of personality to win. Especially if he's there in that final challenge, I don't see him beating someone that would be higher up on this list. So that's why I put QUINCY here at number 10. Hate to do it, but that's why I put him here at number 10. Alright, now at number 9, I have someone who's always just been sort of middle of the road. They always float around this position every time I made this list, and that is Sarah Ham. Sarah, I didn't get much from Sarah. Sarah's sort of like Arida from last season, where Arida didn't give us much in her bios. Sarah didn't give us much in her bios. So you see someone like Sarah, and she just doesn't give much. She doesn't have much of a story arc. You don't know much of what to expect when you see someone like Sarah Ham on the cast. So that's why I have her this low, but that's also why I have her this high, because she could surprise us and pull something out. But other than that, I just don't really have much to say on Sarah. She seemed cool from what I could tell from the interviews. She seemed like a nice person, but I just don't know how she'll be game-wise. Alright, now here at number 8, and this is where it starts to get really tough. This is where I had to make some really tough rankings, and I just didn't really feel comfortable with any of these people being this low on the list, but here we go. LAMAR, EDWIN, Hanger. Now, LAMAR, from what I could gather from LAMAR, he does seem like he'd be on top of things. He does seem like he'd be an adaptable game player, but I just don't know if he's got the right personality. Kind of like what I said with Quincy earlier. When I look at Lamar, I don't see a Murph. Like I originally stated, I think, in my previous video, where I stated he kind of reminded me of Murph, but now looking at it more, I don't really see a Murph in him. I don't see a Scott Henry in him. I don't see any of these really good game players in him. I see him more as like a freight train, but even that's not really the right comparison. I see him more as maybe like an angel. That's still not the right comparison. I don't know how to explain what I see in him, but it is not what the previous winners of this show have given us, and I do think he'll do very well. I just don't think he'll win. And I did not feel comfortable putting him down at number 8, but that's just what I had to do. Alright, now at number 7 is someone that reminds me a lot of Callie Gattel from Season 1, and that is Christine Connors. Christine's bios really screamed Callie to me. I think she's going to be someone who makes it to the Final 5, at least. But I don't think she's pulling out a win here. Kind of like Sarah, she didn't give us much, but she did give us a lot more than what Sarah did. So there's that. And I just think that with her sort of skill set, it could lead to her being very adaptable, but you got to combine the adaptability with other factors, and I don't see those other factors in Christine. That's why I put her down here at number 7. Now we have our top 6 here, and number 6 just kind of landed here by default. I did not know what to do with them, and that is Alfie P. Rivera. And Alfie's probably going to be one of my favorite ones. He gives a lot of Freight Train energy. He gives a lot of Michelle energy from Season 1. All of that in his bio just crammed in there. I love it. I think Alfie's going to be great for TV, but I just don't know if he's going to be a champion, really. I just didn't know what to do with him here. I do think he shows a lot more mental toughness, physical toughness, adaptability, personality than everyone else on the list so far, but I just don't think he has enough to match up with our top 5, so that's why I put Alfie here at number 6, going into the top 5. Here we go. Now our top 5. This was really the definitive top 5 for me. I don't think this top 5 really ever changed except for moving to Quincy down and moving someone else up, and the person I moved up into my top 5 after moving Quincy down was Jerome. Jerome, very positive vibes, very positive energy, sort of like a free spirit. Like, I don't want to say he doesn't care, because he obviously cares, but he's sort of more go with the flow, chill vibes, and that's something I can really get down with Jerome. He's sort of like a more chill version of someone like Danny or Zeus, but I don't think he'll be the Danny or Zeus. I just think that's what his personality reminds me of. So Jerome really gives off those positive vibes. Adaptability-wise, he's not the best, and I think because of his chill vibes and because of his chill personality, I do think he'll be really good in the mental toughness part. I do not think he'll be one to give up easily. I think he can breeze through almost anything that comes through his way mentally. It's just, can he match up physically? And that's where I get him at number 5, because personality-wise, really good, maybe top 3. Adaptability-wise, I don't think he's as high, so I put him down here as a nice, comfy number 5. Now our top 4, very definitive top 4. I don't think my ranking on these top 4 really ever changed, or at least their place in the top 4. I mean, I've switched them around quite a few times, but they've always been top 4. So, in at number 4, tough choice to put him this low on the list, even though he is at number 4. It's Mike Schaffer. Very much Scott Henry energy from this guy. Very much. Very positive vibes, very positive energy. Sort of like a chill Jerome, but not too chill. And I do think Mike does have the competitive spirit in him to where he can pull this off and win it all. Adaptability-wise, he's up there. Not the best, but he's up there. And I do think Mike is probably in top contention here to take home the title of Tough as Nails champion for Season 3. And that's really all I have to say on Mike. He's not really giving us a lot, but what he is giving us, I'm a fan of. Now, our top 3, we have these 3 people here that I actually mentioned this in my previous video, that these 3 would be very high on the list, and what do you know? They're top 3. So in at number 3, I have Leah Mort. Now, Leah has stated that she just works every type of job, and that is extremely, extremely essential for a show like Tough as Nails. I originally thought she was just going to be in like another Michelle, but I do think her adaptability, her mental toughness, her personality, positive personality, will get her far in this game and possibly give her the win. She could be the first woman to win Tough as Nails, and that would not surprise me. I do think Leah is one of these very high top contenders to take home the title of Tough as Nails champion because of her adaptability, her personality, her demeanor, everything about Leah that she's given us in her interviews, I'm a fan of. So I put her up here at number 3 because she's not quite top material, what I would normally pick anyway as for a winner pick, but she's up there for sure. Now for number 2, I have Elizabeth RILLERA, and Elizabeth is sort of like a Linda, sort of like a Liz. She's gonna go far. I'm not doubting that. The question is, can she win? And I think she can. I'm almost certain that there's a win somewhere in there. And somewhere in Elizabeth's personality, her adaptability, everything about it, the mental side, the physical side. She can pull out this win, but it's just a matter of who she's in the final 3 with. That's what I think. Because if she's in the final 3 with like a Leah, a Mike, or a Tak, which we'll get to, spoiler alert, he's number 1, but if she's in the top 3 with any of those 3, I don't think she stands as much of a chance. But if she's in the top 3 with like anyone I've mentioned so far outside of Leah and Mike, I think it's a very easy Elizabeth win. Elizabeth is someone that, even in my first video, the minute I saw her interview, I knew she was going to be very high on this list. And here she is at number 2. Very high hopes for her. I think she'll do better than Liz. I think she'll do better than Linda. I said that about Liz, that Liz would do better than Linda, and she didn't. But I do think Elizabeth pretty much has top 3 on lock. And now for number 1, this is my winner pick. It's TANABE. I immediately knew this guy was going to be very high on my list. I did not anticipate he was going to be number 1, but looking farther into it, it does make sense that I put him at number 1. He is sort of the usual guy I would choose for my winner pick. He's sort of a likable guy. He's not too out there. He's sort of reserved. He's adaptable. He's mentally strong. He's put in a lot of effort in his life, and I do think that Tak is probably the number 1 contender. That's why I put him at number 1 on this list for my Tough as Nails Season 3 prediction. Now, I do realize that last season I picked Zeus as my number 1, and Zeus ended up being more of a Danny. Now, Tak could be the Danny or the Zeus, and he could win a lot of challenges individually and teamwork-wise. He could win a lot, and then at the end he comes in second. That's a very real possibility, and that's just one I'm willing to take because Tak is just way too strong of a winner candidate for me to not consider to have him at number 1. That's the list. I am so hyped for Tough as Nails Season 3. I'm so glad it's back. I'm so glad they renewed it for another season. I hope it's as good as the first one. Not real. I hope it's not on the same level of quality as the second one. I want it to be as good as the first one. So there you have it, folks. Tough as Nails Season 3, October 6th. I may or may not be doing episode reviews. We'll just have to wait and see. But for now, that's all for this video. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.